Lämpimästi tervetuloa tänne Kansainvälisten osaajien Suomi-hankkeen julkistustilaisuuteen koko meidän tiimin puolesta. Onpa kiva nähdä, että täällä on ihan talo täynnä väkeä. In our research project, we look broadly at all talent groups and talent shortage issues in Finland, but today we will look specifically at foreign experts living in Finland and those who have moved to Finland because of their partner's work. This is our second publication in this project. In this event, we ask how Finland could be a better country for a foreign talent. And here you can see our today's program. This event is bilingual. We will have a few opening remarks first, then present the survey results in Finnish and have a panel discussion in English, followed by a few words from our partners again. But don't worry, if you don't speak Finnish, we will have a presentation for you in English as well, so stay tuned. And here you can see our team. You will meet us all here later today. Meidän hanketta tukee ja mahdollistaa asiantunteva konsortio. Here you can see our consortium partners from various sectors. But now, without further ado, I would like to invite a member of our consortium, Laura Lindeman, a head of work in Finland unit at Business Finland, to say a few words on behalf of our consortium. So Laura, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Rosa. Does it work? It works?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Welcome also and on behalf of the consortium. Lämpimästi tervetuloa myös hankepartnereiden puolesta. I'm Laura Lindeman and quite fresh head of unit in Work in Finland, unit in Business Finland. But I have worked for several years with international talent attraction issues, and I find it very important to have a more solid knowledge base for our work in talent attraction and retention. The meaning of international talents for Finland is growing all the time. Our government has set us very ambitious goals for talent attraction. We should double the current volume of work-based migration and triple the number of foreign degree students by 2030. Ulkomaisten osaajien houkuttelu ei kuitenkaan ole kuin tyhjä kuori, jos emme samalla pidä huolta Suomessa jo olevista kansainvälisistä osaajista. We need to focus not only in attraction but also retention, and making Finland welcoming, open and inclusive for international talents that are already here. I'm proud to say that in the Talent Boost work, this has always been the idea, not only to attract but also retain. Ulkomaisten osaajien kokemukset on ollut mediassa esillä koko ajan entistä enemmän. Nyt tämä tänään julkaistava tutkimus antaa meille tietopohjaa, systemaattista tietoa ja määrällistä dataa keskustelun tueksi. The data the study gives is valuable for everyone working in talent attraction and retention issues, but not only for those professionals working with these issues, but for the whole society, because the responsibility of making Finland welcoming for international talents is everyone's. At the same time, the study gives valuable knowledge and data for decision makers preparing for elections and the next governmental period. This study gives the voice to international talents who are already in Finland. On erittäin arvokasta, että tässä tutkimuksessa tunnistetaan myös puolisoiden rooli. The number one reason for companies to lose international talents that they have recruited is that the spouse doesn't find work or something else interesting here in Finland. Haluan kiittää tutkimusryhmää tästä tutkimuksesta, joka antaa meille tosi arvokasta tietoa. Ja haluan samalla toivottaa kaikille tosi mielenkiintoista aamupäivää. And I wish that all of us will utilize the results of the study in our work and make Finland the best destination for talents together. Tervetuloa.
Thank you, Laura. Seuraavaksi sitten hankkeemme varajohtaja Ville Pitkänen ja vanhempi tutkija Matti Välimäki esittelevät kansainvälisille osaajille ja heidän puolisoilleen suunnattujen kyselyjen tuloksia. If you would like to follow the survey results presentation in English, you can find the link in the chat box or get a physical copy from the side table if you are here with us at Lasipalatsi. Mutta nyt Ville ja Matti, olkaa hyvä.
Okay, warm welcome for all. Tervetuloa meidänkin puolesta. Kollega Välimäen kanssa tässä esitellään tuloksia ja tuossa itse raportissa on tosi paljon sisältöä ja tässä me päästään pikkasen vaan raapasemaan pintaan, mutta otetaan muutamia meidän mielestä mielenkiintoisia nostoja tuolta esiin. Ennen kuin mennään tuloksiin, niin otetaan muutama perustieto tutkimuksesta. Tuossa Rosio mainitsikin, että meillä oli fokuksessa Suomessa asuvat korkeasti koulutetut ulkomaalaiset ja sekä puolisonsa vuoksi Suomeen muuttaneet ulkomaalaiset. Ja tässä tutkimuksessa me kysyttiin ennen kaikkea, että mitkä on Suomen vetovoimatekijöitä, mitkä asiat edistää ja hankaloittaa kotiutumista ja millaisia haasteita osaajat kohtaa suomalaisilla työmarkkinoilla. Tämä on meidän hankkeen toinen osajulkistus. Keväällä julkistutetussa ensimmäisessä osassa tarkasteltiin ulkosuomalaisia ja paluumuuttajia. Muutama sananen näistä meidän aineistosta. Me tehtiin käytännössä 2 erillistä kyselyä. Toinen oli suunnattu työvuoksi Suomeen muuttaneille tai Suomessa töitä hakeville ja sitten toinen puolisonsa tai kumppaninsa vuoksi Suomeen muuttaneille. Nämä kyselyt oli ehkä 80-90% samanlaisia, jonka myötä se mahdollisti sen, että me pystyttiin yhdistämään nämä aineistot ja kokonaisvastaajamäärä on tuo 753. Eli valtaosassa kysymyksistä toi on se porukka, keneltä me ollaan vastauksia saatu. Tämä vastajoukko oli pääosin korkeakoulutettua, 94%, mikä kertoo tietysti siitä, että myös tässä puolisonsa tai kumppaninsa takia muuttaneissa niin suurin osa meidän vastaajista on korkeasti koulutettu, eli he ovat yhtä lailla kansainvälisiä osaajia. Sitten kyselyjen tuloksista. Ja tarkastellaan ensin pikaisesti hiukan näitä Suomen vetovoimatekijöitä. Eli me kysyttiin vastaajilta, että mitä tekijöitä he pitävät houkuttelevina Suomessa. Ja tässä näkyy aika pitkä lista tekijöitä. Siellä kärkeen nousee yleinen elintaso, luonnonläheisyys, työn ja vapaa-ajan tasapaino ja yleinen turvallisuus. Nämä on selkeästi sellaisia yleisimmin jaettuja Suomeen liitettäviä tekijöitä. Ja tässä on aika hyvä ja myönteinen kärki, eli tämän varaan on hyvä rakentaa. Sitten sieltä voisi nostaa ihmisoikeutta, demokratia. Sitä piti tärkeänä reilu neljännes, ja tämä korostui erityisesti sellaisten osaajien keskuudessa, jotka tuli Lähi-idästä, eli tässä voisi ajatella, että ne ihmiset, joiden lähtömaahan on hankalammassa tilanteessa, niin he myös arvostaa sitten tätä puolta. Sitten voisi nostaa tuon palvelut perheille ja lapsille. Se koko porukassa se on tuommoinen viidennes, mutta sitten kun katsotaan sellaisia vastaajia, joilla on lapsia eli tämmöisiä niin kuin perheellisiä, niin siellä näitä perhepalveluita arvosti lähes puolet. Eli se osoittaa taas sen, että hiukan taustasta ja elämäntilanteesta riippuen niin ne arvostukset on erilaisia. Sitten palkkataso, työmahdollisuudet, mahdollisuudet uralla etenemiseen, ne ei ehkä valitettavastikaan nouse ton korkeammalle. Et jos me ajatellaan ikään kuin tätä kilpailua kansainvälisistä osaajista, niin ehkä sitten jatkossa olisi toivottavaa, että Suomi pystyisi kilpailemaan myös näillä sektoreilla, mutta siinä on tietysti paljon tekemistä. Sitten toinen nosto, mikä meidän aineistosta nousee, on ehkä se, että enemmistöllä ulkomaalaista osaajista menee Suomessa aika hyvin. Kysyttiin tätä aika monesta eri näkökulmasta. Me kysyttiin kotiutumista, ja kuten tämä vasemmalla oleva graafi osoittaa, niin enemmistö, 79% on kotiutunut erittäin tai jokseenkin hyvin, ja se on aika iso porukka. Ja tämän lisäksi hieman alle puolet kokee kotiutuneensa alle vuodessa. Eli sen lisäksi, että useimmat kotiutuu, niin useimmat kotiutuu kuitenkin myös vielä verrattain nopeasti. Sitten toisaalta on myös se joka 10, joka ei ole kotiutunut lainkaan, joka on myös huomionarvoinen joukko. Sitten me kysyttiin meidän vastaajilta, että kuinka todennäköisenä he pitävät Suomesta pois muuttamista lähitulevaisuudessa. Ja tästä havaitaan, että 39% pitää muuttamista lähitulevaisuudessa erittäin tai jokseenkin todennäköisenä. Ja tässä ehkä se huomionarvoinen juttu on se, että siinähän ei sinänsä ole mitään outoa eikä se ole poikkeuksellista, että osa kansainvälistä osaajista ehkä alun perinkin tulee tänne sillä ajatuksella, että he tulee tänne vuodeksi, 5 vuodeksi, ja jossain vaiheessa siintää mielessä se paluu sinne kotimaahan. Ja ehkä niin kuin tätä porukkaa ajatellen toivottavaa olisi sitten tietysti, että se kokemus Suomesta on mahdollisimman positiivinen, ja sitten se positiivinen viesti liikkuu eteenpäin. Mutta sitten tähän joukkoon kuuluu myös paljon semmoisia ihmisiä, jotka eivät ole syystä tai toisesta kotiutuneet Suomeen. Heillä on ollut täällä vaikeuksia ja lähtee sen takia, että he eivät ole löytäneet jalansijaa täällä. Ja tämä on erityisesti se porukka, johon kannattaa kiinnittää huomiota. Et me ei tietenkään toivota, että täältä ihmiset lähtisivät sen takia, että koetaan vaikkapa syrjintää tai jotain muuta. Sitten hiukan uramahdollisuuksista. Tämäkin oli ihan myönteinen tulos. 59% näkee mahdollisuutensa edetä uralla Suomessa erittäin hyviksi. Tämä oli toki kysytty vain niiltä, jotka tuli tänne työn vuoksi, mutta prosentit on aika positiiviset, mutta jälleen toinen puolikin on olemassa. Tässä oli pieniä eroja koulutustaustan mukaan, että humanisteilla oli jonkun verran enemmän sitä ajatusta, että uralla eteneminen on vaikeaa, kun sitten taas teknologia- ja IT-puolella ne uramahdollisuudet nähtiin keskimäärin vähän myönteisimmäksi. Ja sitten vielä viimeinen tähän liittyvä. 75% meidän kyselyyn vastanneista koki olevansa tällä hetkellä osaamistaan vastaavassa työssä, mikä on myöskin ihan myönteinen juttu, että suurin osa näistä ulkomaalaisista osaajista kuitenkin löytää sellaista koulutusta ja työkokemusta vastaavia tehtäviä. Sitten mä annan puheenvuoron Matille, ole hyvä.
Vaikka tästä tuli positiivista kuvaa tutkimuksen kautta, niin on myöskin hyvä tiedostaa tämä puoli, että kaikilla ei mene yhtä hyvin. Eli osalla on vaikeuksia kotiutua, löytää paikkansa suomalaisesta yhteiskunnasta, suomalaisesta työelämästä. Tästä muutama nosto, jotka perustuu tähän tutkimukseen. Eli ollaan kysytty sitä, että mitkä on vaikeuttanut kotiutumista Suomeen erityisesti. 1-3 tärkeintä on valittu. Siellä nousee tämä tuttu asia, kielikysymykset, kielimuuri sekä vaikeudet löytää töitä, löytää ystäviä Suomesta. Nämä asiat tärkeimpiä nousee esille. Ja ehkä voisi nostaa myöskin sen, että vain 6% toteaa, että ei ole ollut mitään vaikeuksia. Eli kaikki pystyy keksimään vähintään yhden vaikeuden kotiutumisessa Suomeen. Ja ystävien saamisen vaikeudesta, mistä oli puhetta, niin siitä huolimatta, että se on hankaloittanut kotiutumista monilla, niin 3/4 meidän vastaajista on kuitenkin suomalaisia ystäviä, ja 1/4 ei ole sit lainkaan suomalaisia ystäviä. tähän porukkaan, joille ei ollenkaan ole suomalaisia ystäviä, niin siihen pitäisi kiinnittää huomioon myöskin tässä nyt jo miettiä, että mitkä voisi olla ne keinot, millä voitaisiin tutustua paikallisiin yhä enemmän. Tässä on hyvä ottaa huomioon se, että 3/4 meidän vastaajista on asunut yli 2 vuotta Suomessa myöskin, eli tässä on ollut aikaa jonkun verran myöskin tutustua suomalaisiin jo, ehkä enemmän kuin vähemmän aikaa täällä asuneilla. Sitten toinen ikävä asia, mikä tulee esille tämän tutkimuksen kautta, on työelämässä koettu syrjintä. Eli kysyimme vastaajilta sitä, että kuinka moni on työelämässä nimenomaan kokenut syrjintää. Ja lähes 40% totesi, että jossain kohdassa jostain syystä he on työelämässä Suomessa kokenut syrjintää. Ja sitten jos katsotaan näitä syitä, mitä vastaajat tuo esille tälle syrjinnän kokemukselleen, haluan painottaa työelämässä edelleenkin puhutaan. Ja tähän on vastannut ainoastaan ne henkilöt, jotka on kokenut työelämässä syrjintää, eli nämä prosenttiosuudet tarkoittaa vain niitä henkilöitä, jotka on kokenut syrjintää. Eli 65% niistä, jotka on kokenut syrjintää, niin he kokee sen johtuneen kielitaustastaan. Myöskin kansalaisuuteen, etnisen taustaan liittyvät kysymykset on ollut merkittäviä syitä heidän mukaansa. Mutta sitten huomataan, että siellä on myöskin sukupuoleen, ikään liittyvää syrjintäkokemusta suomalaisessa työelämässä. Ja enemmistö meidän vastaajista myös toteaa, että he on kokeneet useammasta syystä syrjintää suomalaisessa työelämässä. Ja useimmiten nämä kokemukset on liittynyt työnhakuvaiheeseen ennen työhaastatteluja ja työhaastattelussa myös. Siellä on koettu, että on tullut syrjityksi. Mutta myöskin työpaikoilla voi olla tällaisia tilanteita ollut työkavereiden kanssa, esihenkilön kanssa ja näin edespäin. Ja sitten viimeisenä asiana, minkä haluamme nostaa näistä tuloksista esille, on parisuhteen vuoksi muuttaneet ja myöskin heidän kohtaamat vaikeudet kotiutumisessa ja työelämässä, työmarkkinoilla Suomessa, mitkä vaatii toimenpiteitä, että niitä pystyy ratkaisemaan ja tuomaan mielekäs elämä parisuhteen vuoksi muuttaneille ihmisille myös Suomessa. Jos katsotaan tätä kotiutumisen kestoa, niin huomataan tuloksista, että parisuhteen vuoksi muuttavilla näiden henkilöiden määrä, joilla kotiutuminen on kestänyt yli vuoden, on suurempi kuin työn vuoksi muuttaneilla henkilöillä. Ja toisaalta naisilla on miehiä suurempi osuus niitä, joilla on kestänyt yli vuoden kotiutuminen. Ja tässä nousee esille tämän kysymyksen kohdalla, että mitkä asiat ovat vaikeuttaneet kotiutumista Suomeen. Niin naisten ja parisuhteen vuoksi muuttaneiden osalta niin erityisesti vaikeus löytää työtä on ollut vaikeuttamassa kotiutumista Suomeen. Ja vielä parisuhteen vuoksi muuttaneiden osalta kysyttiin sitä, että onko joutunut muuttamaan urapolkuaan Suomen muuton yhteydessä, Suomen muuton vuoksi. Ja yli puolet on joutunut muuttamaan urapolkuaan. Tämä voi tietenkin kertoa myöskin tällaista luonnollisesta osasta nykypäivän työmarkkinoita, että vaihdetaan aina silloin tällöin urapolkua, mutta jos siinä taustalla on niin kuin haluttomuutta tehdä tätä, niin totta kai se silloin tarkoittaa resurssien tuhlaamista ja se on lannistavaa myöskin näiden yksilöiden kannalta totta kai. Ja kysyttiin myös, että kuinka monet näistä parisuhteen vuoksi muuttaneista on osaamista vastaavassa työssä, niin vaikka tämä prosenttiosuus on 61% kohtalaisen hyvä, niin se on silti, jos muistetaan tästä koko vastaajamäärästä, niin se on huomattavasti pienempi. Silloin siinä oli 75% osaamista vastaavassa työssä, eli parisuhteen vuoksi muuttaneista pienempi osuus on tällainen tilanne. Tässä muutamia nostoja havainnoistamme, ja kuten todettua, niin verkosta löytyy raportista paljon lisää vielä asiaa tästä, ja myös toimenpide-ehdotuksia löytyy sieltä raportin lopusta, ja varmaankin myös paneelissa keskustelemme hetken päästä näistä toimenpide-ehdotuksista lisää. Nyt voi esittää kysymyksiä ja kommentteja. Kiitoksia.
Kiitos Ville ja Matti. Tosiaan, jos teillä on kysymyksiä, nostakaa kättä ylös ja kertokaa, kuka olette ja mistä organisaatiosta tulette, ja tuon teille sitten mikin. Aloitetaan täältä.
Onko tämä päällä?
On jo.
Voinko esittää englanniksi kysymyksen? Joo. Kirsi Korhonen from the University of Helsinki and the Hey Life Project. I have 2 questions related to well, first of all, thank you very much for the survey, very interesting results. I have 2 questions related to your questions. You chose not to ask the spouses about their career prospects, and then again you chose not to ask the employees about them changing careers. Why did you do that, and do you think it had any effect on the results?
Yeah. Do you kind of have some? I don't think there was I don't think it was based on the fact that these wouldn't have been interesting to hear from the both parties, but we along the process we struggled with the fact that these were really long surveys, and we tested these, and we found out that many of the test respondents felt that they have too many questions, so we had to choose and drop something out in order to get some specific questions to the spouses and some specific questions to the ones who came because of work. But basically, I think you're right that it would have been at least interesting to get the answers from the both surveys or respondents.
Do you think it affected the results?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. It would have been nice to know what the different groups would have thought, but I don't see how it would have perhaps affected the results.
Täällä oli seuraava kysymys.
Janne Veisto Åbo Akademiin. Tässä näytti olevan kielellä suuri merkitys, eli se oli niin kuin negatiivisena kokemuksena, mutta myös siihen työelämän syrjintään liittyvä. Niin se jotenkin mua kummastuttaa, että eikö tämmöinen kansainvälinen osaaja tule tavallaan englanninkieliseen todennäköisesti työyhteisöön usein. Niin onko kysymys jostain niin kuin käytäväkielestä, eli mistä tämä syrjintä johtuu? Että oleeko te sitä analysoida tarkemmin? Kiitos.
Siis sanotaan näin, että me saatiin sekä sieltä avoimista, että sitten meillä oli näitä kysymyksiä, että missä sitä syrjintää koetaan, niin mä luulen, että se on niin kuin vähän eri paikoissa. Et iso osa siitä syrjinnästä liittyy siihen työnhakuvaiheeseen, että niillä, joilla sitä työtä ei ole ollut tai on joutunut vaihtamaan työtä ja hakemaan, niin silloin on koettu, että kielitaustasta on ongelmaa. Mutta sitten myös sitä puolta, että ehkä osa kokee, että suomalaisessa työyhteisössä ei välttämättä vielä ainakaan kaikilta osin osata ottaa mukaan englanninkielisiä työntekijöitä. Haluatko sä lisätä, Matti?
Joo, me myös kysyttiin sitä, että minkälaisia kehittämistarpeita liittyy suomalaisiin rekrytointiprosesseihin ja työelämään yleisesti, ja tässä vähän niin kuin kielikysymyksiä myöskin tuotiin esille siitä, ja hyvin paljon niin kuin kannatusta sai meidän vastaajien keskuudessa se, että rekrytoinnissa, työnhakuilmoituksissa kerrotaan tarkasti se suomen kielen, ruotsin kielen taitotaso, mitä siellä tehtävässä oikeasti vaaditaan. Ja toisaalta se sai hyvin paljon kannatusta, että epämuodolliset keskustelut työpaikoilla olisi käyty semmoisella kielellä, mitä kaikki ymmärtää. Eli niin kuin tällaisia konkreettisia muutoksia sai muun muassa tukea meidän vastaajilta.
Otetaan täältä takaa 2 kysymystä ja sitten vielä edestä.
Hi, my name is Peter. I'm a psychological scientist. I specialize in entrepreneurial thinking, and I wonder, do you consider it an obstacle for foreigners to enter Finland when you are not using, traditional academic lingua franca like English in this presentation?
You are asking why this is not in English, are you? Yeah, or did you get it, Matti?
Okay. Hi, my name is Peter. I'm a psychological scientist. So I wonder, do you consider it an obstacle for foreigners to enter this country when you're not using traditional academic lingua franca English in your presentation?
Do you mean it
Yes, I think that many employers they think that it's the language that they are supposed to hear. If you are not presenting yourself in Finnish or Swedish, that you are using English as a language, as a lingua franca, like you said. But I'm not sure if I'm following your question. Okay, sorry.
So you are basically asking why this is not in English and could it be an obstacle? So why we have done this in Finnish? I suppose it's partly because we know how the Finnish public works. So we kind of figured that in order to get the message out, sometimes it may be a bit more difficult to get kind of attendees or journalists to write about the results if we do totally English events, so that's why we use the bilingual. Yeah, again, I think in Finland to get the kind of message out, I think using Finnish is the best way to go. But this is a bilingual thing.
And we also have a press release in Swedish as well on the side. One question from here.
Hello, I'm Anne Nikitina, and I'm not here representing anyone specifically, but I was in the student council, and I'm interested in municipal politics, and I come from a small town of Lappeenranta. So my question is, did you have participants in this survey only specifically from Helsinki region or also from smaller places like Lappeenranta? And if you didn't, do you think that would have affected the results of your survey?
No, I think we had kind of respondents from all over Finland. And if Matti just recalled that also from Lappeenranta we had rather many respondents. So I think geographically it was rather well represented.
Do you think could you connect those results to like specific areas, or let's say marketplace areas, like populated areas?
Yeah, we did look at the responses by using the kind of background of geographical data, but the differences were not that big. So that's why we didn't find any interesting results.
Now we have time for one more question here, but you will have time later to ask more questions as well at the end. So, yeah.
Thank you. My name is Varpo Rusila. I'm the founder of Her Finland channels. I am curious to know how was the international communities taking part in the planning phase of this survey?
We basically we had when we started planning this thing, we had this vast round of kind of discussions with not only foreigners but with also experts from all areas of society, and kind of it's kind of really difficult to put my kind of how well we did with the foreigners, but they were included. And we also, when we tested the kind of survey, we had several foreign talents kind of giving us comments and giving their input and saying what we should ask and what is not working.
Kiitos Ville ja Matti. Otetaan tosiaan myöhemmin vielä lisää kysymyksiä, pitäkää niitä mielessä. Ja chatissa voi myöskin kysyä kysymyksiä. Siirrytään sitten seuraavaksi paneelikeskusteluun, jonka vetävät meidän hankkeen johtaja Mariko Niemi ja projektiassistentti Gökhan Debo. Tämä keskustelu on englanniksi. Now it's time for the panel discussions. So I would like to invite all our excellent panelists here. Mari ja Gökhan, please, the stage is yours, and our panelists, please come.
Hi, everybody. I still want to come to this final, or one of the final questions on language. Indeed, the aim of this project is to be impactful. Of course, we also want to be inclusive. and we need to try and do the both at the same time. But since the project aims to change Finland to be more inclusive, we first of all need to ask foreign talents, what should we do? But then we need to tell it to Finnish media, to Finnish decision makers. Both are very busy, and we know how it works in Finland. Unfortunately, we are not very impactful if we start sending press releases or having events like this in English or Swedish here in Helsinki. That is the way how our experience is. I hope this will also change at some point. And we have also a representative of media here who can then tell her her opinions on that. Anyway, now I go back to my script. So, good morning, everyone, and warm welcome to all of you who are joining us here in Lasipalatsi or online to follow our panel on how to make Finland more welcoming to foreign talent. My name is Mariko Niemi. I'm the director of this project and work also as a director in the E2 research. I have the pleasure to host this panel with my colleague, Gökhan Depo, who also works in the same project.
Thank you for the introductions, Mari. It's great to be here with you all. Thank you and welcome. We'll continue the discussion on the results published here today that you've heard. And you can find our key findings in English there on that table. And also my colleague will send links to the key findings on the chat box, or it's already been there. And once again, thank you for being here.
It is now time to introduce our fine panelists. We have a great amount of expertise and insights on stage, so we're really glad to have you all here.
Yes, indeed. Our panelists are starting with Sorin Dan. He's a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Vaasa, and Kamilla Sultanova, diversity, equity and inclusion consultant, speaker and host. We have Peter Westerbacka, entrepreneur and developer, the founder of Slush, the tunnel builder known from Rovio, Angry Birds, and the finest Bay Area. And we have Vera Luoma-aho, staff writer from Helsingin Sanomat. Welcome.
Thank you, Gökhan. Our first theme here is recruitment and working in Finland. Sorin Dan, let's start with you. You have done research on global digital talent management and talent attraction and retention here in Finland. But you are also an international expert yourself. You have studied and worked in different European countries and in the US, so you have some perspective for the issues we are discussing today. So, according to the survey published today, large proportion of highly educated foreigners living in Finland have adopted to life in here very or fairly well. And they work at jobs they feel that match their skill set. However, nearly 1 in 5, which is 17%, have settled here somewhat or very badly. When you look at Finland, how do you see our country? Is Finland open to international experts? And how do these results in general sound to you?
Thank you, Mari. Thank you very much.
Microphone on.
Thank you very much. It's an important question. I think we could talk for hours probably about it, but just in a few minutes, I have to admit, and I have to have a very personal confession, that the 17% sounds not so significant if you think about it. 1 in 5. Maybe we would have expected maybe like 60% of people maybe who do not feel that that it's for them to live here. But we know that if you look at the whole results, there are also challenges that people face. Personally, I think we need to put a bit of context, and the survey really does that very well, because we are talking about different kinds of people, different kinds of organizations, different kinds of employers, and different locations and different settings. So for instance, to take my example, I work at the University of Vaasa. I come from Europe, from Romania, but still Europe, it's part of the European Union, and I work in a very international work environment. That's University of Vaasa. I do research. I don't even speak Finnish. I don't need to speak Finnish. I think it's fine. But some other person living, working in another, for instance, in a small company, it's a very different story than in academic setting or in a large company. So if we put all of this kind of a flesh to it, then I think we bring in more perspective. But I think in theory, if you think about it, what makes people to come and to stay here? It's really a balance between two types of factors. That's what research tells us and theory tells us. It's the push factors and the pull factors. The pull factors are the things that attract people to a place, and the push factors are the factors that push people away from the place. And the decision is about really a balance between these two. Which are more important, which are more salient? Is it some or is it the others? So people make decisions based on these kind of factors. But yeah, I think personally, I think it's working well. So that's a good message, but there's also a bad message. And I know, and the research tells, and also people have different experiences, and they are not so positive. So it's a very good question.
Thank you, Sorin.
Thank you, Sorin. Kamilla Sultanova, you're an expert that consults companies and other organizations on inclusivity and diversity, and you've lived in the Nordics for nearly 2 decades. Results of our survey show that there is room for improvement in Finland about the Finnish recruitment methods. Things like practicing anonymous recruitment and openly announcing required language skills in Finnish or Swedish language skills, they were important to our respondents. So I'd like to ask you, how do these results sound to you? And during your time in Finland, have you seen improvement? And where should we focus first to improve recruitment process?
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good morning, everyone. Huomenta, salam alaikum, здравствуйте. So I would like to recognize diversity in the room, which is not really diverse, but I guess there's a special event to have people who are not in the room, the internationals as well. I have moved here 8 years ago, and today we are in post-COVID, post-Black Lives Matter, post-Me Too, digital world, hybrid work environment. As a mother and a mentor and building diverse Finland's future, I've changed the whole perspective on international talent and also like how do we see recruitment and integration, because we have 2 camps right now and we're recruiting internationals while we have also immigrants here. And I see, of course, without doubt, the things have changed. There are a lot of NGOs, a lot of advocates for diversity, equity, inclusion. All of you in the room, I know 90% of you, and so good to see you in person. But the usual suspects are there, but the funding isn't there for really creating the lasting change for making those either anonymous recruitment or diversity inclusion strategies really lasting. A lot of times we see the success stories on the tech side, the success stories on the global company side, Nokia, Nordea, and all those banks, which are really leading change. However, when I actually was in Tampere first time at Talent Boost having a speech, when I said, we promote Finland, welcome to Finland, and when you step inside, it's like, Tervetuloa Suomeen. So there is this continuous divide between how do we find and communicate this message that you're truly welcome, but you're still required to speak Finnish. So I think it's about narratives. It's about narratives we have in politics and the media, how we are building that belonging for everyone who wants to come here. 2 is that who is really welcome here. I very well understand my privilege as a Nordic citizen, but I've had an Uzbek passport. We know the good, the bad, and the ugly. The bad is always the migri. And how do we make sure that the passport doesn't become a reason for discrimination? How do we increase that sense of joy to work in Finland? I promote it actively. And the third one is the social contract. When we start recruiting, yes, we want to recruit you, but you will be locked into asiantuntija role. And I was working with Russian markets, so I was always the Russian expert. But what about my career progression to become, head of diversity or head of the CEO or the CEO? So the representation in the career level, I think it's still very limited in Finnish companies. So definitely the tech is there, the gaming and of course Peter work as promoting. I mean, he brings Uzbek students to Finland. I'm from Uzbekistan. So, but the idea is that I want to open up a question here, is not just about recruiting and having tactical work, is about every Finnish employers using inclusion as a value in the company and really living up to it, because otherwise it's going to backfire. And to all of you who is in the room, we are all privileged, we're working with this. Can we ask, what is the social contract for Finland towards internationals and immigrants? Where is the social contract between messaging Talent Boost message to Integration Forum that's happening in 2 weeks in Tampere. How is that represented in integration forum? So the integration people who work on the same topics, racism, discrimination, lack of representation and political and city levels, and then the integration forum representatives in talent boost forums. So I think recruitment will follow suit. I just believe we lack the messaging, and political elections are coming up. So I think that we have a big momentum now ahead to bring in the media representation and see who we want to hire and how do we communicate it more as a vision and then with the tactic of every employer. Thank you.
Very good. And since you mentioned the elections, our project will also come out with our final results. So there are still a couple of surveys that are going out, and we will come also with policy recommendations in March. So we are going to be also, from our part, lifting these topics up. I think after Camilla's very good words, we could continue to the more to the working place. And Peter, of course, you are an entrepreneur with long experience of working in an industry already mentioned, very international, so mobile game development. Alongside that, you have been really active in many fronts, supporting Finland becoming a more international country. When you look at the Finnish workplaces, how they could be more inclusive? Kamilla mentioned already some things, but what else comes to your mind? And maybe you have some good examples, good practices from gaming industry that you would like to share with us as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's like the good and the bad. But I think that maybe as a start, I mean, when I was working at Rovio, we had 47 different nationalities working at the company, and now I'm sure it's over 50. And that's just like the way it is. I mean, of course, we hire the best people, and we don't care if they're from Uzbekistan or the US or Brazil or China or like anywhere we can find like the best talent. And if you look at the games industry, we have 5,000 people now working in the games industry. We hire 1,500 people every year. Probably we could hire 3,000, and we hire everywhere. So it's kind of like people don't really expect that, hey, we need to find like somebody from Finland that speaks Finnish. I mean, that's like quite unlikely that we will, and most of the people are like from wherever. And I think that's just kind of like normal, and you don't think twice about that. That's just like the way it is. And I think that then if you look at many other industries, of course in technology we have fairly international environment, not maybe as diverse and as kind of like international as games, but it's not too bad. And I think that if I look at then Finland in general, I mean, we're far from that in most of the industries. And we still have this, I mean, I was meeting actually with some of the international students in Vaasa, and then I had all of them like introduce themselves, and then we like start talking about like, okay, how do you get a job? And I said that you're not gonna get a job because of your name. And they're like, what do you mean? And I said, okay, hey, you all have like very weird sounding names. I mean, they're not Finnish at all. And basically I have so many friends who have applied for jobs and they don't get to an interview because their name is like not Finnish. And this is, like Finnish people, we don't see this. And we think that we are so open and inclusive and international and like everything, and hey, we've been on vacation all over the planet, and of course we understand that there are like people of different color, and of course we're not racist. But then when it comes to kind of like hiring, then yeah, but like that was like some weird name, I can't even pronounce it, so gone. And I mean, and I see this like time after time. I mean, some of my ex-Rovio colleagues, when they left Rovio, and they're like fantastic like people, but then they happen to have the wrong last name. They don't even get to the interview. So it's really like amazing that we still have this. But okay, the good news is that we have such a bad like and big shortage of talent that basically the companies that don't figure this out will not be around for too long because they can't find people to hire. And I mean, this is not, I'm not talking now about like, experts, and we're, like we have all these talent boost and all this stuff that, yeah, we want to hire, like real experts and like people who really know what they're doing and all of that. I mean, if you go to, you were to Tampere, if you go to Tampere, there's like this, is it Rautatien Katu or something, right in the middle of Tampere, and there's a Subway restaurant. It's been closed now for many weeks. Why? Because they can't find talent. And in this case, you don't really need fantastic like academic career or anything like that, to work at the Subway, like fast food restaurant. But they can't find the people. And I mean, I know the owner, and they tried everything. all the different recruitment agencies, all of that, and they just can't find anybody. And this is like in the center of Tampere. It's not like a cheap place to have a restaurant, so it's super bad news to have it closed for weeks. And this is everywhere in Finland. So I think that, like once people start dying in our elderly care homes, I think most people will figure out that, okay, maybe it's okay to, get a bit more, talent in here. So that's, the situation we have. Then, of course, one of my, pet peeves and, like one of the things that we always have to bring up, because again, something that Finnish people don't see, migri. So I have now, Lappeenranta was mentioned. Some of my friends, actually from Silicon Valley and from, I was thinking was it Michigan, but somewhere in the US. Anyway, so they have been studied now at LUT, and they love it. They love being in Finland. It's fantastic. But then they told me that every year they have to go to Migri and get their, their residency permit renewed. Okay, fortunately this government now fixed that you get a residency permit for the whole duration of your studies. Like, how amazing is that? So you don't have to go and be harassed by Migri every year and pay, 340 euros or whatever it is nowadays for, like the privilege of getting, bullied by these Migri people. So they tell me they love being in Finland. Every time they have to deal with Migri, they remember, you are not welcome. You shouldn't be here. I mean, we can't have this kind of situation. We can't afford to treat foreign people like this. And we, Finnish people, we never have to be, part of this kind of thing. But I mean, you should all talk to, any of your foreign friends and, just ask them about Migri, and you will get story after story after story like this. And now, that these people from LUT, from the US, they're about to graduate, and they said that, okay, maybe we don't even care to go through this process again, and we'll just go somewhere else and work. This is Finland. So, it's not good. And it's totally unacceptable, and it's racist, and all of those bad things. And then if you're Russian, it's even worse. But I mean, let's not even go there. But I could go on for hours and hours, but it's not good.
Thank you. Very important and honest words.
Well, now I believe Vera Luoma-aho, I have a question for you. So you work as a staff writer at HS Visio in the Helsingin Sanomat newspaper. In your work, you cover business, working life, and leadership. You've also covered foreign talents situation in Finland. What are your thoughts after listening to the results and your fellow panelists? In your view, do we give enough weight to these matters in the media and in public discussion?
Yeah, this has been really interesting. Thank you for inviting me. One of my main thoughts is that, well, this is clearly like a question that needs really, holistic approach. And if we want to make Finland more welcoming to foreign talent, there is no just one silver bullet. And this holistic approach is not very easy for journalists, because usually we try to find, specific shortcomings and specific things that should be fixed. And by holistic approach, I mean that that it's not just about faster working permits, or not just how Finnish immigration service works. But it's also about spouses and how they get a job, and English schools for kids, and is there like nice apartments to rent, nice houses to rent, etc. Like many things. And this holistic approach, as a journalist, I know that it's not very easy for Finnish governance either. Like. Decisions are made in, like in Finland, we have this silos. It's the same. Bureaucracy.
To stop the Tsar from doing any big changes.
Yeah.
The Tsar is gone, and we still have to say.
Yeah, and one decision is made in one organization, and one decision is made in another. So it's not really a holistic approach to this issue. And that's why I know that we nowadays, like startups, are using companies that help them to, if foreign talents want to move to Finland, these companies actually help startups and other companies in this moving process and how to navigate in this bureaucracy, and it's interesting that there are companies that have realized that, okay, there is market for this because this is so messy. And then I think your second question was that should we write more about this issue, or
do we give enough weight?
Yeah. Well, I have to say, definitely, yeah, yeah, we should. But I have to say that I think that our understanding about this issue has been like incomplete, and we have to remember that even this Talent Boost program, it has been, this Finnish government program that attracts foreign talents, like most of you know it. It started only like a couple of years ago, like 5 years ago, I think, to be accurate. And before that, we really didn't have any understanding about this whole issue. Things have really changed during last even 3 years. And we didn't even think that well, this is maybe an example how we speak here in Finland, we all the time. We didn't even think that we needed these talent attraction campaigns. And and I have written stories about, even about people who have just studied somewhere else, like Finnish native Finns who have studied in Oxford, for example, in a wonderful university, and then when they come back to Finland, it's difficult to find a job even for them, and it's just ridiculous. And I don't know. So it's really difficult question, because I think there is something in Finnish culture that is just, it's really exclusive in a bad way, and you in Finland, you trust people who you know and who have been in same schools and speak same language and share same networks, and I don't really know why is that. I don't have answer for that. I was thinking of this morning, and one of my answers was that Finnish society and system is like, it's strongly based on trust, also in a bad way, good and bad way. Like, it means that we easily trust people who are really similar to us, really familiar to us, and who look like us, behave like us, and because of that we can make really stereotypical decisions, even racist choices, and we have a blind spot, clearly.
I think this is really interesting when you say who look like us, feel like us. I live in the UK at the moment, and the us in there is way more diverse than us here in Finland.
It's horrible to say us.
Yeah, but I think we understood what you wanted to say. Vibrant discussion, really interesting points. Just to let Gökhan know, I'm jumping a little bit.
Sure.
So moving to the next topic, and it is spouses. We already discussed a little bit in the results part. As we know, in Finland, social networks are largely built around workplace connections. So if you have a job, it's not only job you have, you get also quite a lot aside. It is also known that in some fields, it is way easier to find a job as a person speaking English compared to some other fields. And as our survey reveals, 51% of those who moved to Finland because of a relationship, or because of something related to their partner, 51% had to change their career plans after moving to Finland. I would ask Peter and Kamilla first, how does this sound to you and how we could improve this? It seems certain fields are quite international, it's quite, easy, but it is possible to work there, and then many fields. And as Peter, you said before, we are going to need so many people in so many different fields, so how to open up and start recruiting also English speakers to those fields that are not yet doing so?
I think that it's kind of like similar, or it's the same problem that we have in general, that like for spouses and all that you then get one of the in the couple gets a great job, and then the other not so much, and I think that is again the core or root cause is again this thing that many companies are not hiring foreign people, period. So I think that we need to kind of like address that. And I think that the big thing here is again that we need to kind of like bring this out in the open, because I think most Finnish people are then that like what you know, like, is this like really true, and what is going on here? And I think that it's something that we just need to bring out and you know, like share these stories, and then also I think that now that we start to see, you know, like in the various cities and all that we have these programs for like finding jobs for the spouses, and I think that it's again about getting the information out, and then organizing events for, you know, people to meet, you know, so again spouse events and stuff like that, networking, getting connected with, you know, and building the trust. That I think that is actually and actually it's a very good thing that we have that like trust-based society. So I think that we just need to make sure that it's like spread evenly, and we trust, you know, like then even if you look a bit different and all of that. But yeah, I don't think that there's any kind of like quick fix for this. It's just something that we need to kind of like bring out, discuss, and actually like share that, so that people know that hey, it's actually a problem, and it's a real problem and needs to be fixed.
And it's not only a problem for those people, it's really a problem for Finland, because whole family is likely to move if one is not happy. How would you contemplate?
Yeah, I agree so much also with Vera and the trust and the social capital that's needed to really jump inside these networks and just feel welcome. I want to repeat that 51% of spouses are, you know, say that they had to change their career track. And while futurists and career councils today say that this is normal for our future lives to change careers, if we're forced to do that in Finland, it's a waste of expertise, talent, all that enthusiasm, and it's like rejecting a professional. And when we think of the inclusivity in the workplace, we also think of how do we you know, channel the difference, how do we manage the difference as a resource. And at the moment in Helsinki alone, I know it's across Finland, the spouses are there. A lot of them are unemployed. Helsinki's Finnish International Working Women of Finland is just one great example. And they are very much wanting to work, let's say, in kindergartens. But we have so much worker shortage in kindergartens. So there is that mismatch that at some point we have tens of thousands of unemployed women, mothers and professionals, and on the other hand there is that inability to kind of build those paths to career paths which are smoother, and also recognizing the education. I know it's not like an easy walk in the park, but if we have one thing is that women getting the jobs, yes, you have education here in Finland, we can always re-educate ourselves, then is it still a promise to get a job, or is it still that I need to know a Finnish friend? And let's remind the statistics that 24%, so 1 in 4 of people in Finland don't have a Finnish friend. I know I lived in Denmark, my friends lived there for 15 years, they've never been at a Danish Christmas. How about Finnish Christmas? So if we just been to Taivalkoski and Posio with Varpu here in the room, and those people, they have no places to meet. We are lucky here to have communities like Shortcut. We have different places that around Tampere and Turku, they're doing great things. Vasa spouse program, Helsinki spouse program. And then think about who funds these. I think funding really should be channeled, and we have an amazing opportunity for now companies to stand up and do employer branding. Build your own your own spouse, like fund your own spouse program. Sponsor mentoring programs across the country, pick your own region or university, a lot of universities in the room. There are hungry career source professionals willing to help companies. And so use that to bring visibility not only to your company, but also to your locality. I didn't know Taivalkoski exists. And they have the oldest trader shop in Finland, Jalavan Kauppa. How beautiful is that? So also, how do we empower community builders? I live in Vuosaari. We have the best Vuosaari Youth Worker of the Year, Sabi Indiaye, and he's the community leader of Vuosaari in terms of COVID and bringing young people together. So another way we need outsiders to tell us we're good, right? So now I'm also as an outsider thinking like, we have different community leaders, so why don't we celebrate those Finns and internationals and local Finns who are making Finland worth living? Because I will be always thankful to Varpu to make me speak Finnish to 50 entrepreneurs in Kuusamo. If not her, I probably never dared. I would be happy to say, Ted, hey, thank you for bringing me to Ekonomit Mer, the largest economist publics union, because you believe that we need to have voices there. So there are those enablers, but the companies are losing out on a very simple but very strong symbolic value. So at the moment, yes, women are struggling. Women cry in my face, from Nantali to Taivalkoski, saying that their kid is being racialized or ethnically profiled. And this shouldn't happen like that in a country which is the best country in the world to be a mother. And my daughter is going to be going to this Finnish school too. So we really need to wake up and say, who is international in my friend? Do I have international friends? Can I be a mentor for international mother? Pick yourself from Mothers in Business NGO or International Working Women Finland. Empower Wednesday in Turku, you come and talk to me, I will connect you to all the support networks. There is plenty of ways to do. I just feel that we need to be reminded that meaningful relationships break the stereotypes and racism and break that tight social networks and open up. So I think there's great opportunities. Just listen to all diversity equity specialists, which are huge right now in Finland. Yeah.
And much needed.
Much needed, yes.
Well, to piggyback on your comments, first of all, thank you very much. You mentioned the spouse programs in various cities, and I know Sorin is from Vaasa, and Vaasa has been one of the latest cities that started spouse programs. So do you have any insights on that or anything you can comment?
Yes, thank you very. Yes, definitely. Well, I know some information because my wife happens to coordinate Vaasa spouse program. So whether you can imagine what conversations we have every day. Who funds it? It's a local initiative. It's the city of Vaasa, the municipality, all right, the regional council, and the T office, plus the university, who is administratively supporting it at the moment. So I just want to highlight this collaborative element, and I think Finland. You might be surprised by the conversations that we've had so far, but Finland is very good at collaborating with each other. It's because of this trust element, and especially public authorities, public institutions, of course, engaging companies more into that. So it's hope that in the near future, companies will also contribute financially to support the Vaasa Spouse Program. I just want to highlight two aspects of these spouse programs. I see them, or they are concrete actions to apply or to start to implementing some of the ideas that we've been discussing so far, because they have two components. It's a work-related support, and the other one is social integration. But without social integration, it's probably unlikely to retain people here. You might attract them for a while, but if there's no happy wife or happy husband, there's no happy life. We know that already. So for longer term, it's very important to get these social connections and social integration. And really, when you discuss with others as a part of a community with all of these public authorities, organizations, then they get support. Because we know already that the office, they are helping on an individual basis each job seeker. It's part of the T office mandate. But when you have the network support as part of a group, then it's much bigger than that. And I think this is really, really helpful, the spouse programs, and can really start to implement concretely on the ground some of the things that probably have been discussed in Finland for maybe years or so. So I really... Yes, because they like the services that Finland... So I think it's also important to talk about the positive things about Finland, because I really think that there are many important and good things, and kind of build from those also positively, because not always negative messages. I think there are many things that really, those pull factors that I was expressing before, that really attract people. And even the survey highlighted a lot of those positive elements. Yeah, so I understand that there are many frustrations and issues at the same time, definitely.
I just want to add, 39% did still experience discrimination based on nationality and status, so we need those connecting programs to unwrap these stereotypes and prejudices we have. So, and I experienced that just recently. I experienced racism. I haven't done that, and then I have been also a victim of ethnic profiling. So it's real. The struggle is real. Regardless how privileged you are, it's happening on every circle, on every level.
Convinced about that, yeah, definitely.
I think what really highlights here is that we need to remember how diverse the group international talents are. So of course it's really important and valuable that we talk about families. At the same time, those who come alone, they might be even more lonely if they don't have a partner and if they don't have those Finnish or other international friends. So this is diverse issue, and that makes it so important to discuss from different angles and indeed include various groups of people in different situations. Also different parts of Finland. I think easily we talk about the pääkaupunkiseutu, Helsinki and cities nearby, because most people live here. But there might be great examples in other parts, and Vaasa is one very international area indeed for a quite a small city. Vera, let's continue with you again. You have this little bit unpleasant position maybe to be the last, but then you can also go and maybe take the wider perspective. Of course, we all want to see that Finland has prosperous, innovative, inclusive future. But I think to achieve that, we need to really continue internationalization of Finnish society. And that might mean that, for example, changes in workplace practices have to take place. And also, public debate needs to be more inclusive. We can look at the Finnish media and we can think whose voices are heard, who are heard as experts, who are the ones writing the stories as well. How could this be achieved, and what role does Finnish media play in this, making the feeling of togetherness and more inclusive and everybody's voice is heard?
Really interesting and difficult question to answer. In my previous answer, I talked about this Finnish culture and how it's not very inclusive, and it's true in journalism, definitely. Like, I don't know, quite often I've been told, like, people who work in communications in the universities, for example, tell that when journalists call, they quite often ask if the researcher speaks Finnish, and when they hear that, oh, you have some English-speaking researcher, maybe, do you have someone who knows maybe also a little bit about that, but speaks Finnish? And that's quite horrible. But I think that Corona crisis has changed that a little bit, because suddenly the whole world is so much smaller, and it's easy to interview someone from other country in Teams and just email to Mariana Mazzucato or Malcolm Gladwell and try and ask, do you have 15 minutes for me? So things have changed a little bit. And I don't have a silver bullet for that either. I'm maybe better in asking questions than giving answers, but
you promised to work on this.
Well, I don't know. I think journalism is serving like freedom of speech and democracy, and they don't work properly if all people are not included to this public debate. So I guess that this failure of the news media to include diverse voices, it's a global issue. It's not just a Finnish issue. But it's really serious issue, because if we fail to include these diverse voices, of course, it's a threat. We've been talking about trust, so it's a threat to trust. It's a threat to public trust, to journalism as well. And other question was about these practical workplace practices and these kind of things. I know, I was thinking of schools also, and we haven't been talking that much about universities and schools, well, a little bit, yeah. But for example, Finnish universities don't very actively work to get more like diverse students from different backgrounds. It's not how it works. We have really different system, and maybe we are a bit blind-eyed. We think that, of course, we have this equal system here, and it's all about meritocracy, and it's not really. Yeah. And also, we have this really outdated views about schools as well. Like in Helsinki, for example, we still have this idea of elite schools, for example, and these Helsinki elite schools are really middle class, really white, and I don't know, when we talk about future skills for example, I'm honestly, I mean, my kids are in a very multicultural school in Helsinki, and I'm honestly so happy because I feel that they actually get these future skills that they need in these kind of schools. Yeah. I don't know if I answered to the question, but
It was
that's what I have
good.
to say.
It was good. Thank you. I'm sure we would have many other questions we would like to ask you, but also I realized that in the first time when we gave the floor to the audience, there were so many questions that people were not able to ask. So I would say we give the floor to the audience, and panelists, please stay here so audience can choose. You can ask from the panelists, but of course, if there was something important that is still in your mind related to our research, so also Ville and Matti can in that case jump and use that microphone there. And Rosa will be running around.
Yeah, thank you, Mari. So let's start with a question from the chat this time and then move on. Vilma, do we have any questions in the chat for our panelists?
Thank you, Rosa. We do have active, vibrant discussion going on in the chat as well, and thank you, all our panelists, for excellent discussion. I will bring up this one question. Employers and workplaces have a key role in this topic. More concrete action should be taken. How could we encourage employers to make the necessary changes faster and more rigorously? What concrete actions should be taken now?
Very relevant questions. I would like to say that go forward beyond the I am anti-racist campaign. So when I said in the beginning of this that we should have inclusivity and inclusion as a value for every company, because that you can incorporate in your company and make sure that it's delivered through the behaviors. But very basic is that you can't just recruit diversely without diversity inclusion strategy commitment. So from commitment comes the processes turn into practices and ultimately go into behaviors, because we need to change behaviors, how we treat people, how do we promote English as a language or as a social language, and also how do we create that sense of belonging for people who are outside traditional mold, and bring in that need, necessity, and respect for difference. So we have different ways to work. You can hire a diversity, equity, inclusion consultant as a company, or look at what are the ways that you can, as an external, but then of course would be great to have someone working on it perfectly within the leadership company, and also have employee resource groups. Those are very famous, just go into basic ways to incorporate, and mentoring programs. Meaningful relationships do break the stereotypes, and actually universities use it to promote engagements with employers, and through that you can use mentoring as a way to recruit potential employee to your work. I work with Wärtsilä in Vaasa and then Nefco in Helsinki, so they already work with Hankkeen, which is also present, Hankkeen School of Economics. So there are definitely ways to choose these social engagements as a way to recruitment, but I also say build community, supporting community building and networks will be an imperative to recruitment and retention. So again, as an employer brand, you want to associate yourself with a specific talent pipeline, which is already present in Finland, across Finland, be it in energy cluster in Vaasa, or you have Turku business region, or then you have Helsinki capital region, and just go out to Espoo city and try for some solutions there. So yeah, commitment. And then you have the people working on it in the company. You have the mentoring engagements with your local communities, so you have exposure to diverse talent pipeline, and then you have the incentives that you measure.
And can I say something as well? And I was, when we were talking here, I was also thinking about like recruiting processes in general in Finland, because I think that maybe we should, pay more attention to recruiting, like the recruiting process in general, as I said, like not just, I think sometimes in Finland, in Finnish companies and organizations, recruiting processes are really, they're quite short and they are not done very carefully, maybe because of this culture where we think that, we already know these people, it's easy, I already know this guy who is applying and he's nice, or something like that. I don't know what's the reason, but in some other countries, which are, bigger countries, the recruiting processes can be much, longer and more careful. And if they are more careful, maybe you get more diverse and better people to work in your company.
We have approximately 10-15 hands in the room, so let's try to answer quite shortly and include more questions. Sorry, I don't let more.
Let's start from this side.
My name is Hussein Alda. I'm a member of Parliament of Finland, SDP. When we came to Finland, there was a small ad in a newspaper. I was 10 years back then. That said, a family of refugees is coming to Finland to the city of Valkeakoski. Is there any family that want to be friends with this family and make sure that they, get along in Finland and feel good? And based on that relationship, we got a lot of positive things learning about Finland. And I think this is a concrete thing that we can do. That if we can create this, where then the companies would welcome these people and make them their friends and volunteer for that, and that should be a concrete thing in every Finnish company. In the city of Vantaa, where I also a council member, out of the 700 companies that were established last year, 350 were established by people who have a foreign language. It seems that if you don't get employed for a paying job, then you establish a company. And Etla says that foreign people establish companies in Finland more rigorously than people who are of Finnish origin. Maybe partly because they want to start this startup because they're afraid that they don't get employed, or maybe they're forced to start a company. So my question to you is, Peter, how can we encourage, for example, the spouses to start companies, or how we can encourage Finnish companies to help these people to also start their own companies? That's one. And to Helsingin Sanomat Visio, I would like to ask, out of every 10 news pieces that are done in Finland, 8 of them speak about a criminal event that happens by somebody who's a foreign, and 2 are basically positive. While we bring around 15,000 people who are then employed here in Finland, out of these 15,000 people, we have thousands of positive news pieces that we might report. You are a magnifying glass of the Finnish society as a media. So how can you make sure that you will do more balanced reporting on what's going on in this country? Because a lot of positive things are going on in terms of foreign engagement.
Yeah, I hate this because I really want to be positive, and but this again, I think it's fantastic that we have people, Finnish people, foreign people, everybody that they start companies. I think that's fantastic, and we should encourage that. And it's super good. And this is again one of the reasons we started Slush back in 2008 was actually that our own young people were totally not interested in starting companies. I was at Aalto and I asked 600 students how many want to start a company or join a startup. 3 out of 600 raised their hand in 2007. So we had to do something. So now it's very good that people want to start companies and they are starting companies. And it's not just, again, startups, but it's just, I want to start a restaurant or whatever. And then, the bad part. So good part is that it's very easy to start a company in Finland. But then if you are an entrepreneur in Finland, and I have example of some of my Chinese friends. So they were entrepreneurs and they had a restaurant. And then they were entrepreneurs. So then one of the things that we have automated here in Finland is that every year Tax Finland reports all the foreign people in Finland who are not making enough money to Migri, and then you get an automated letter saying that, thank you very much for coming, please leave the country. And this is not like a joke, it's real. So Lisa and Wei, who have this restaurant, these are real names, probably I should make something up. But anyway, so then Wei, who has been here, she came here to study, as many people do, and she studied in Tornio, and she learned Finnish, and she has a flat in Kallio, and she has been working all this time and never been on any kind of social security. But when she's an entrepreneur, she's not paying herself, I don't remember now, 3,000 whatever, so that you can stay in the country, which is more money than most people in Finland make in general. So then you get this automated letter that, thank you very much. Okay, then she had to hire a lawyer to fight that, and then she was allowed to stay. Okay, then the pandemic happened and the restaurant, sadly didn't survive. So then she had to get a job at like the Asian supermarket and at one of the, I think it was like a, Chinese or Asian like tea house. Okay, then she got this, deportation, or they want to get rid of her. So she's Chinese, so she can't have dual citizenship. So even though she speaks Finnish and all that, she can't have Finnish and Chinese passport. So then they want to get her out of the country because she's working, at the supermarket, and then your guys. So you said that you're from SDP. We have tarveharkinta. So hey, other people can do that job, so you should, leave. It's not for you. And then because she's working 2 jobs, that's wrong. She should earn the required amount of money from just 1 job, so they want to get rid of her. So this is, come on, we are punishing people for doing 2 jobs. And then we're punishing them because she happened to pick the wrong kind of job, that where we have this, tarveharkinta. So we want to get rid of her because of that. I mean, come on, we can't treat people like this, that they want to actually just build a life, work, and we are punishing people for that. That's like super bad. And I really, positive, yes, great, start more companies, do more, that's fantastic. But then we have built a system where if you're a foreign person, hey, you shouldn't do that, and you're like taking jobs from, Finnish people and blah, 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 which is like complete bullshit when we have a huge shortage of people. So it's again, these are the kind of things that we can't afford, and I really hate to be negative here, but I mean, I just like hate this kind of approach.
I want to add one sentence. There is also a speak among immigrants. They're like necessity entrepreneurs, and not just in Finland, across the world, because they can't find a job in their society that they're forced to start. So there needs to be a better narrative on.
But hey, I just want to ask, like here, we have like Finnish people here. So who here thinks that it's wrong to do 2 jobs? Anybody? But okay, as a society, we think it's wrong. Like really, come on. I mean, nobody I've talked to thinks it's wrong to do 2 jobs. Okay, you think so.
If you do it in so low wage that the government must pay subsidies that you can live. In Finland, we pay a lot of subsidies, for example, because you can pay their rent, and 1/3 of those people are working because their wages are so low. So I'm for that Finnish people have a decent wages. But you are saying that we get rid of the tarveharkinta and everybody can hire everybody from every corner of the world. That means that the wages will be so low that people cannot live with those wages, and the government must pay a part of those wages by subsidies.
Okay, we have...
Okay, we can have a longer debate about this, but I think it's bullshit.
I'm sure we can continue discussion also after the event, but since you've been quite directly challenged, Vera, so
yeah, it's horrible when someone asks difficult questions. Oh my God!
Hopefully, quite a short answer, and then we will have last words of the event will be heard. So we are a little bit behind the schedule, but I love it that it's been vibrant. Unfortunately, not time for all the questions.
Yeah. You asked me about those bad news that we or Finnish media maybe write about immigrants, and I think, well, maybe it's a problem in news in general, of course, that we quite often focus on bad news. But yeah, of course, we should pay attention to like what kind of narratives we tell, and of course the media's goal is we try to be objective, but we also need to understand that we may have biases. And it's a little bit of taboo, to talk about those biases in journalism. And I don't know what's the answer. We just need to talk about this more. We need to recruit more diverse people, the newsrooms, like every other company, more diverse backgrounds. Maybe that could help a little bit. And then, well, I believe in talking and debate. It's not an easy way to fix things, but we just need to talk more. And maybe in Finland we are a little bit afraid of debates and confrontation and always try to find consensus. Maybe in the future we just have to learn to have a little bit more vibrant debates about these issues.
Thank you. And thank you, Gökhan, for hosting this with me. Thank you for the panelists. I ask you to still stay put. We have one more short talk, and then we can still mingle and discuss. It is clear that world is not ready. There is lots of work to do in Finland, but I would like to highlight one of the main results we have been discussing today. Vast majority of foreign experts who responded to our survey, they are doing pretty fine if you ask them. And I think that is good news that we can also write and talk about. Issues that we have to work, and we have to do that together. Everybody is needed in this. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone so much for the vibrant discussions. And if you still have questions for our researchers, they will be here after the event and they are very ready to answer all your questions. But now we will have a few closing remarks from the chair of the consortium group, Senior Advisor Mikko Räsänen from Elinkeinoelämän keskusliitto, Confederation of Finnish Industries. Mikko, please.
Thank you. Thank you all its panelists. This was really great to have such direct words from everyone. Migration is, as I think Peter said, this is a thing that we Finns are blind to, really, with the bureaucracy. So we had to make a study about how things work and how they look to people who are coming here. So thank you, Ville and Matti. Thank you, Rosa, Gökhan, Mari. Where are you? There. For your work. Because my job really is to take messages from our members, from companies to the authorities, and see what is wrong here, what can be eased. And labor migration is one topic that our interest with employees are very much shared. And we need to listen to the workers and also job seekers who try and find jobs here. And there's been mentioned a lot about the recruitment methods companies use. There's a room for improvement for us there, definitely. And this is one other part of my job, is to help companies understand, enlarge their recruitment pools, so they can they'll be able to hire more diverse workforce, because if we all come from the same school, same universities, we've read the same books and listened to the same professors, we always only have the same answer to a problem. But as for the study here, I agree with what Mari said, that I'm happy to hear that 80% or 79% have adapted well. But these are people who have already come to Finland. And there's a huge discrepancy. I had to look that word up. In findings with the OECD study that states Finland as a destination country amongst the highly educated, we rank 17th in the world. And our neighboring country, Sweden, which we consider quite, equal to us, ranks second. So this leads us to our third and final session, which will be held in March the 14th, and the study will focus on digital nomads, the people abroad who would be able to work for Finnish companies, but for some reason may not. And I'm really interested in seeing how they see Finland as well. So, took a lot of notes from you guys, but I'm afraid we don't have time to go through this here. So what's the usual question after a seminar like this in Finland is, okay, that was nice, where's lunch?
Thank you so much, Mikko. Maybe there will be still some snacks still available outside. Thank you everyone so much for coming. I will send you all the materials after this event. Thank you again.